Hey guys, I'm not sure what you'll be able to hear, so I'm just gonna try to screw around today. I own a Honda Element, which is a car I bought. I don't know how far back, but bought a car. It's a Honda Element, and yeah, that's that's what I'm gonna try to create today in Blender. And just set up my screens properly. Entire screen. Okay, let's try this now. So if you don't know about the Honda Elements, let's do some research about it. Starting with Google Honda. You know what? Let's play with Midjourney, or let's play with some AI. Let's see, ChatGPT. ChatGPT. Log in really quick. Second while we log in. Cool. So here we go. Let's try. I wonder if does voice work on the. Voice doesn't work on here, so I'm just gonna try on my phone. So if you haven't used ChatGPT on your phone, it has a conversational mode. Let me show you how that works. See if I can put my screen up to the camera. So ChatGPT is this guy right here. Boom. I'm gonna tap into that. Oop. Gonna tap into that. Let that load up. And then there's a button down here that looks like a microphone. Right there. Anyway, it looks like a headphones. So you click on the headphones, and now it's in conversation mode. Hi, ChatGPT. How are you doing today?
Hey there. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How about you? How's your day going?
My day is going great. Can you tell me about the Honda Element?
Of course. The Honda Element is a compact crossover SUV that was produced by Honda from 2003 to 2011. It's known for its boxy shape, versatile interior, and rugged design. It was popular for its spacious and easily configurable cabin, with features like a flat folding rear seats and a washable floor.
Is the floor really washable?
Yes, indeed. The Honda Element had a unique feature where the floor of the cabin was made of a durable, stain-resistant material that could be easily washed or hosed down. It was designed to make cleaning up dirt, mud, or spills a breeze, which was particularly handy for outdoor enthusiasts or pet owners.
That's pretty cool. Thanks.
You're welcome. If you have any more questions about the Honda Element or anything else, feel free to ask. I'm here to help.
Okay, talk to you later.
If you think of anything else you want to know or just feel like chatting, just let me know.
Cool. So let me turn that off. So now let's talk about the Honda Element and I'll show you some more pictures of it. My Element doesn't look as cool as this one. I got the older model, but here's some of the fun stuff you could do with it. People put stuff in people put stuff in any car, but one of the biggest draws is for outdoor people and those that like to camp. So as you can see here, here's someone doing some fun camping, glamping in their Element. And this is, let me see if I can find what mine looks like. I don't have a picture of mine. And they came in different styles. Like this one here has the plastic paneling on the fronts, back, around the fender wells and all that. Because these are places that Honda designers felt have a lot of impact and are more prone to getting scratches and dings and things like that. Also, there was a second model. Well, there's more than two. There's technically like four models, but the one that I have looks more like this, where if you look at this blue one versus the red ones down here, this one has body paneling that is the same as the top. So it's more or less your traditional car that has paint across the whole thing, not just certain panels. Anyway, so what we're going to do today, hopefully, is I'm going to try to import some of the blueprints for the element into Blender, and I'm going to do that by just dragging in some files that I found earlier. So let's see. I'm going to my folder here, upcoming open projects, Honda Elements. So I went online and I found a bunch of images here. You can see these are the blueprints that I found. Why we need blueprints is pretty simple, and it's to be accurate. So I'm doing this for accuracy in hopes of building something to go in the car where mathematical space calculations need to be closer to the just vague approximations. Otherwise, I wouldn't really need this, but it also is good to have a base of reference for when you're drawing, or in this case, creating models in Blender. So let me just put this on the side here. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and bring it into Blender. So this is a GIF. I don't want GIF files, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's just try with this. Find a good file here. I like this one. This one has a front, back, not a rear, but I'll show you how we can play around with that. So we're going to bring this one into Blender as a image plane. So in Blender, Shift A brings up your import dialog or shape dialog. And if you're unfamiliar with Blender, let me restart this. Let me restart and create a new file. So here we are at the splash screen. This is what you'll see when you open up Blender for the very first time. I'm going to go into General, create a brand new file, and you'll see this cube. This cube, you can manipulate, stretch, and you can scale. You can do all kind of fun stuff with this, rotate it around. And I'm using a Cintiq, which is a really big 24-inch screen. Let me see if I can't rotate this around so you guys can see what I'm working with. This is my Cintiq here, pardon the mess in the room. This is a really, really big screen that allows me to draw and do stuff. You don't need a screen. You could work on your laptop, but anyways, I'm using mine. So let's go into Blender, and instead of just freestyling, actually, I'll play around just to warm up. I'll try to freestyle a model of an element. And like I said earlier, it's good to have some reference up at the same time. So let's put this screen over here on the left, and let's go with this screen on the right. Cool. So now we got a reference. I don't need that much reference. We got some reference, and we have, our screen over here. Cool. So let's get started. I'm going to delete this. Pressing X, Y, if you don't have your hotkeys mapped, pressing X and Y give you different angles of your scene. I'm going to go to X, which is a flat side view profile, and this would be like a profile of a car. Shift A, I want to create a mesh, which is a cube. And we know the element is boxy, but it's not exactly a cube. So I'm going to scale that along the Y axis, which is green. And now we have a rectangle. And this rectangle, by the way, is not flat because we are creating 3D. We are in a 3D program. So I'm going to rotate this around for a second just to show you that it is not 2D. Okay, let's go back, click Y. Click X to get back to our profile view. And we know we need to create a hood to the car. So there's a couple ways to do that. I'm going to create a new box, though. So Shift A, Mesh, Cube. And we know that the hood is not as tall as the roof. So we're going to shrink that down by hitting S, and then Z to bring the height of the hood down. And you might be thinking, why is this in the middle of the car? I'll take care of that in a second. But for now, we're going to just move it to the front, like so. And then, you press G to move items. G, think of like G as like to grab. And that's how you move items around. So now we have a rough estimation of a passenger portion of the car and then the hood. Now let's make it look a little bit more to scale. All right. So we know the hood's not that wide. And up here in the top, you have different modes in which you can use to interact with your objects. Ooh, wow, I missed my hotkeys. So I opened up Blender and installed a new update. So my hotkeys are not what they should be. But up here, object mode is where you can switch different modes. I'm going to go into edit mode. Edit mode allows us to pick vertices on objects as opposed to manipulating the entire object. More on that later. But let's get this hood a little closer to the windshield because we know it's not that high. G to grab, same as we did before, and then you can move around. If you want to move it but constrain to a XYZ axis, all you gotta do is hit, guess what, XYZ. So we're gonna hit Y in this case, and then we're going to move it along the Y axis. Let me control Z back a bit because I think while explaining I did a little too much. So again, we are in edit mode, not object mode. Object mode makes you move the whole object. We don't really want to do that. We just want to manipulate it. So from object mode, we're going to go into edit mode, select all the vertices we want to edit. If this view is kind of throwing you off, click on X again. And then we're going to hit G to grab, but we want to constrain it. So then hit Y and it constrains along the Y axis. Hope that makes sense. Let's lock it down somewhere around there. That looks good. And now we got a little better looking element. Let's find a side view here in our browser to see just how off we are. Ah, here goes a good one. So see, oops. Here we go. So that, let's move our image a little up here so we can kind of get it close to approximation. So what should we do next? Wheels, maybe add a tilt to the windshield. It kind of tapers up toward the top. If you look where the rear bumper is in the top roof, just right of the antenna poking out, you'll see that it is not perfectly in line, but actually a little more tapered in. And I think that would be a next great place to start. So let's do that. In Blender now, still in edit mode, we're going to rotate our object a little, or I'm going to rotate it. You don't have to. I'm going to press G, excuse me. I'm going to go back to object mode, select the object I want to edit, go back into edit mode, and now I'm going to make a square around the top vertice up here, which selects it in blue, as you can kind of see there. And then holding Shift, you can select other vertices. If you let go of Shift and try to select another square, it's only going to select that one. So make sure you're holding down Shift. The two vertices I want are these up here. And I'm going to switch back to my X view, or let's call it profile view. G to grab, Y to constrain. And like I said, I'm going to bring that in a little bit. In the same way that we see up here, the element is a little tapered. Make sense? Cool. Hope you're following along just fine. Now over here to this side. This side of our element needs to be a little more tapered as well. So let's hit G, Y to constrain, and bring it in a bit. And what we're going to see happen here is we're going to create a gap. You don't want that gap, obviously. So how do we fix that? There's a couple ways. How I would do it is I would add a loop cut, or I would add a bevel. So let's try loop cut. Loop cut here is the square that has a green line through it. In this mode, without getting too much into details, we want to select the face of this now trapezoid. It used to be a rectangle, now it's more like a trapezoid. And by selecting the face, we will be able to add a loop cut into it. So up here is your face select mode. Here is your edge select mode. And then here is the vertices. We were using the vertices this whole time. Now let's switch over to face. Before we get into here, let's just switch back to our select mode. And let's begin selecting around your scene to select different objects. Get familiar with how this works, interacts, and as well as how to move the camera. It's really crucial you learn how to move the camera. If if you've ever played Mario 64, you probably are a little better at moving the cameras around, or first-person shooters. But yes, moving your camera around is really crucial. I'm using a pen with my Cintiq, which is great if you're into that. I highly recommend using a mouse though. I have a Logitech MX3, which is a mappable, really kind of OD mouse. But if you are into multiple digital programs, just being able to click one button here, like on the side, or scroll horizontally, or do this, like there's just small little things here. Just by doing this with my hand, it prevents me from having to do this and go into my keyboard, this and go into my keyboard, this and go into my keyboard. Like it's just little macros, but so many of them that it speeds up my workflow insanely fast. So back to clicking around. All right, let's click this face, and now I'm going to be using my mouse just to step away from the pen for a second. Put that mouse up there. Cool. All right, now let's go back to our loop cut. And as you can see, when you mouse over the plane that you have selected, face that you have selected, it creates this yellow outline. What this yellow outline is doing is it's indicating where it is going to add another, where it's going to bisect that object. So I think this looks like a good place here, where defaults is the middle of the object. And if you were to click and drag, watch this, clicking and dragging gives you the ability to manipulate where on that object it will be landing. And I think this is a new feature for Blender, so this is pretty exciting. You can see the diagonal blue arrow indicates if you are on the top or the bottom section of that object. So if you only want to do a little bit on the top half, you know you're there because of the indication. That's pretty cool. I love Blender. It's an open source software, which means you don't pay for it. Or excuse me, that's not what it means. Open source means a community built it. So the big projects, the big design programs are owned by Maya, by Adobe. And this is like completely free, which is great. And it keeps getting better and better, which is even more amazing. The support system, it's if you can donate to Blender, they accept donations, and why wouldn't you with this, how great it is. Anyways, so I think I'm gonna have this loop cut, rather than moving it around, I'm gonna Control Z out of that. I'm gonna have it right in the center. So let's switch back to our X mode here. And we see now we have a loop cut, but to manipulate the vertices, we got to go back to vertice mode. So up here, vertex mode, we're going to select vertex, and now we can see there's a dot there. We're still in loop cut mode, so let's get out of loop cut mode. Rotate our object around. I want this guy, and I want this guy. And now I'm going to switch back to X mode, move along the y-axis, and looking at my Honda element as reference, I think that is looking okay. Cool. Using what we just applied, I'm gonna manipulate the hood now, okay? But with a little less explanation, so you can see how fast this can go once you get some reps under your belt. Maybe some music too to help pass the time. And I don't know how to play music on YouTube without copyright, so I'm gonna go with some like video game playthrough, because that music's not usually copywritten. Let's see. What do I want to listen to? 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 Legend of Zelda. Game Boy playthrough. This sucks. No, I don't want. I'm gonna try 19. 90s video game music. Let's see what happens when I try that. All right, let's try the best video game music of the 1990s. So this is a sure bet, right? Let's let that go. All right, back to actually designing. Okay, maybe I'll stop there for a second to talk to you about what I'm doing here. So right now I'm working on the bumper. I'm kind of like getting lost in the details of it, so and a little bored. So I'm gonna actually Control Z all that. What I was doing here was rotating the object around using a keyboard that has numbers on it. Hold on, let me take my stupid dust thing off. Oops. Okay, so using my keyboard that has numbers on it, I can actually change the orientation of what I'm looking at. Nope, hold on. Here we go. So really quickly, I can toggle between the different modes. Let me get my monitor back up here. Entire window. Boom. Okay, cool. Now, toggling the different screens. Get out of here. Where's Blender? Did Blender crash? Okay, there it is. Okay, cool. Now, what is going on with this? Share screen, entire screen, this one, share. And then it switches. So what I need to do here is I need to say, don't do that. Do this. Great. Now, finally, I can show you. Make sure I'm in Blender. Okay. Tapping these numbers here. Tapping 1, boom, 2, boom, 3, boom, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, rotates around slightly, 5, 6, 7, top view, 8, I think it's a bottom view, and that's rotating around now, 9, and then 0. 0 gives you the view of the camera, which if you are rendering is useful. So learning your hotkeys is so important to have a decent, hold on, this song sucks. All right, having learning your hotkeys is I don't want to say necessary because that sounds limiting, but it's gonna really make or break your experience in Blender if you can learn your hotkeys or not. That said, I'm gonna play around with this a little bit more, just get it to the vague shape of the element. You know what? Nah, I don't want to do that. I'm going to hop into a different method of creating models, and it's not freestyling. And as I'm doing so, I'm going to tell you the advantage of this. So we're going to create a new scene because this is a good exercise, but kind of crap. So new, file, new, general. Do you want to save? Nah, that's not good. Let's not say that. All right, and we are going to start by deleting our cube. Hit X to pull up the delete dialog and click to delete it. Also, another quick way, just hit X and then enter. Boom. See, you're learning hotkeys already instead of having to click and move your mouse around. First thing I want to do is we want to import this image. Let's save it. For whatever reason, I found trouble with Blender. Blender's importing images from Blender if it's not in my downloads folder. So I'm going to save it here in my Honda element folder. And then I'm also going to save it in the downloads folder. Right. I'm going to call it 0001 just to make it easier to find when I'm in Blender. So let's get back over here. And we're going to hold Shift and press A. And we're going to pull up image as planes. What this means is probably above your pay grade right now if you are new to Blender. But if you're not, it's going to allow us to import the image not as an object, but as a intangible plane, if that makes sense. You can later make it tangible and make it into an object, but now we're getting into the weeds. Okay, if you did this correctly, you should see something like this, which looks like nothing. It looks like nothing. Don't worry, you probably just need to go into your render mode up top here. And right now I'm in viewport shading. Forget what everything else means. Just what you need to know right now is you were by default in this mode with the circle filled in. You want to be in the circle that looks more like a beach ball with some shading on it. That's where you want to be. Cool. We're in that mode now using our hotkeys on the keypad. I'm going to hit the number 3, which snaps in this orientation. And I'm going to hit Shift A to create a new mesh a la cube. This cube is huge. Let's rotate our scene around so we can see that the cube is so big it's enveloping the image we just created. So press S to bring up your scale dialog, and that's going to change. Excuse me. Hit S. It's going to change your cursor to this thingy. Let's scale it down to about there, just small enough so that we can see the image still. I'm going to hit 3 to go back to the side view. And now let's get into my favorite part, which is like, if you remember as a kid, like stretching Play-Doh over an image to trace it, like think way back. This is like elementary school, maybe further back. Like imagine you have this shape on a placemat, and then your teacher's like, spread the Play-Doh so you can make the shape. You know, like that's essentially what we're gonna do here. But we're imagine we're playing with really expensive Play-Doh. All right, I'm gonna zoom in so I can see this a little better. Holding tab, you can quickly pull up this radial menu rather than going to the top here. Oops. Rather than going to the top here and clicking every time and switching and clicking and every time. Again, hotkeys are your friend. We're gonna hold tab. I'm gonna go into edit mode, and I want to be in yeah, let's go into edge mode. So I'm going to select a couple different edges. No, let's let's start with the basics again. I'll build you up so we're not just jumping around too much. We are in object mode. We're not even in editing mode yet, okay? So just object mode. Now we want to make this thing wider. Same thing we did when we were earlier freestyling, but a little wider. Let's do it. Scale. Hit the S button, Y button. Hold on. How do I bring up my key binding things? Then I don't have to keep saying what I'm doing. Let's see. Key binding. Key bind. I don't need that. I think it's just built in Blender somewhere here. File, preferences. Where are you? Edits, render. Nope. Preferences. Key map. Window, maybe. Interface. Show key binding. You know what? Google is your friend. Let's look it up on Google. Oh, shit. Hold on. I gotta take a phone call. Hello. Hey, how you doing? How's happy? Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me okay? I had to put you on speaker. My bad.
Yeah. And I got you on my AirPod, so if it's a little bit, scattered, just let me know.
Okay.
But, yeah. So you saw your nephew, man. They pulled off a district championship with only 6 time in the little recent history. Anybody's won a district championship with 6 players. So
that's amazing. So they only had the whole time, right?
One man bench the whole time. For
wow.
We lost 2 players. One player they split, and he had to go. I guess he just went to football training. So we lost. He was our best big man, so we had to really develop our big. And then the other guy we had, he ended up transferring to a different school. His parents, moved. So yeah, we were down to 6. We wanted to take some from B team, but our B team was good too. He didn't really want to give up any of his players, so we had to roll with 6, man. So we pulled it off, man. I mean, Michigan went into some tough territories and pulled off wins. The last game, they really were focusing on shutting down Mitchell, so we kind of changed gears, and another guy really got Kempton really played like he scored like 20-something points because they stayed at home. They wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? It's like somebody's gonna be open. You can't double everyone, right? The math. So they were so concerned about shutting down Mitchell's penetration. He was making passes, and of course we had another guy that he kind of could beat this man one-on-one. So we just kind of played based on what the defense gave us to play. So yeah, and then Mitchell's defense is like on lock, man. Their team was so good. Mitchell's probably was first team all defense. I mean, they were like locking people up and really shutting people down. So
that's great.
Man, they did good. He's got like 4 schools, man, that are all bidding for him and his backcourt mate Kempton, and so all of them are, talking to him. So it's actually good. And then I'm trying to obviously talk to this one private school called St. Pius. But if you do good, like where Midjourney did, those schools will easily take you. I mean, if you win district, you're going to be known all over. And they're getting ready to go they're getting ready to go to play in
Okay, sorry about that. I had to take a phone call. Just family stuff. Nothing. Nothing. Couldn't just keep drawing and do. But hold on. Now I'm lost. Where my screen went. 1 second. Google Chrome. Nope, not there. This is Safari. I'm gonna close Safari and try to open up Google Chrome. There we go. Okay. Oh, great song. Let me turn this up. Shout out to anyone who grew up playing Super Mario World. Maybe the best game ever. Best Mario ever, dare I say. All right, turn it down. So just to update you a little bit on what you're looking at here, you have the Honda element still looks great. And I'm adding some more loop cuts that I took you through earlier. And I'm switching over to edit mode with the edge selected. And I'm selecting edges like so. Come on. Sometimes you have to zoom in because things are too hard to specifically select when you're so far away. If you're having trouble selecting the edge, as I think I screwed up here and I just made more loop cuts, here's why. It's because you have the loop cut tool still selected when you need to be in object mode. So I'm going to Control Z and we'll see some of these loop cuts disappear. Control Z once, Control Z twice, Control Z again, Control Z again, Control Z again. All right. So now we have a more simplified, or what's called low poly representation of the Honda element. Now I'm going to go into object mode, select the edge, and let's hit the number 3 to go to our profile, and G to grab and move it out, and Y to constrain on the Y axis. So there, that's what we want. And let's zoom out, see how this is looking. It's looking pretty good. It's kind of like a pancake though. Let me show you. So we don't have depth to it. And let me play around a little bit more, enjoy the rest of the song, and then we'll get on to adding the girth that this Honda element needs, so it's not just a pancake.
My name is Jean Yoon, and I'm a consultant, a content creator, and a business owner. As a part-time content creator, I work with brands.
Skip. Dragon Warrior 4. I'm not remembering this. Ugh, I don't like this song. You know what? I just want to listen to some Final Fantasy music. Or actually Mario RPG music. That was one of my favorite RPGs growing up. And it had an incredible soundtrack. And it was just re-released. So let's listen to that. Let's see. Original soundtrack. 62 videos in here. So let's try that. Boom. Boom. There's some funky songs there. My favorite was Go-Go Tower. Not Go-Go Tower, that's Final Fantasy. It's a funky one. It's got jazz. It goes it's like kind of jazz and kind of house-ish. Let's see if I can find it. It was a guy that was shaped like an arrow. You know, I might have to flip through these to find it. Give me a second. I think it's really early on in the game. I'm not sure if they put these 62 videos in chronological order from the playthrough or what. Oh man, maybe I have to look it up a different way. I'm gonna just do Final Fantasy 3 intro. That is a song I love, and I can never get enough of. It's where they're walking through the snow. Oh, magnifique. It's composed by a and then if you didn't know, like video games are not just works of art, but collaborative masters work on a single piece. Yoshitaka Amano did the artwork for most of the Final Fantasy series. Anyway, and an incredible composer composed the music you're listening to right now. Hold on, I gotta go back. That's my favorite part of it, where if you listen to the beginning when the piano starts, the pianist, I think, begins to play and then acts like they mess up and then they go back to the beginning and then play through again. Like it's so subtle, but if you listen for it and when you notice it, it's just incredible. Who would think to like act like they mess up in a song at the beginning of the song as part of the intro to the game? Genius. This is like a dialogue part, so I'm gonna skip through this so we can hear the next part, which is amazing. In this like first person view, walking through the snow. That's actually my favorite part. So they exit the scene and then launch into And by the way, this was on the Super Nintendo, which is only a 16-bit system. So doing this was crazy. They're using a scaling technology that was first used in F-Zero, and where it's a projection mapping system where the floor that they're walking on looks like it's actually moving, where the characters are staying in place. This is also probably most known from, or you probably know it from Super Mario Kart. The original Super Mario Kart also used this, but it was first used in F-Zero. They also did it in Pilot Wings, and actually in a little in Super Mario World too, where they, like when Bowser is flying in his helicopter ship and he flies closer to the screen and it enlarges, it's a similar scaling effect. Again, incredible, beautiful engineers and artists working on these things in video games, which you might not have known of. All right, I'm almost at the 1 hour mark, so let me get back into the Honda Element thing, and then we'll just let this rock out. I'll shut up and rewind so you can listen to it. Sorry. Okay, so we're now ready to add some girth to this element, but we got to get it matched up or else it could look funky. All that is to say, the image we're using for the profile needs to be to scale when compared to the image from the front. I wish I had a car or something to... Anyway, let's just do it. And play some more music. Let's see what can we listen to. Music. Oops. Let's say jazz. Instrumental video game music, 1980s. I don't know what I'm going to find here. Let's try this. S to scale, G to move. S to scale, G to move. S to scale, G to move. And I think that is about right there. G to move, X to constrain, and now we have the side of the car and the front of the car. So let's work on the front. All right, starting to take shape. Looking good, Honda Element. Oh, this is not looking good, but there it is, Honda Element. We need a lot more work on this, but it's looking good. Not bad start for 1 hour and me explaining to you. Hope that was helpful. Maybe I'll do a little more advanced stuff later, but thanks for hanging out and see you next time. Peace.